Now, the New York Health Department is talking about swine flu and the recent tests that have been conducted on up to 75 students in New York, in Queens in particular.
Were absent presumably because of illness. We have spoken with more than 100 of the children or families, and in every single case, illness was mild. Many of the children are feeling better. No child has been hospitalized. No child was seriously ill. Last evening, before kids went home and in one local doctor's office, we were able to obtain specimens from 9 students at the school. We sent those to our public health laboratory. Today, we're confirming that that laboratory has identified those specimens, 8 of those 9 specimens, as probable human swine influenza. The confirmatory testing must be done at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in Atlanta, and the specimens are en route to Atlanta now. Testing is a little complicated, so let me just spend a minute on it. And in the press packet that you'll get shortly, there's a diagram that explains this. If someone has symptoms of influenza, fever with cough or sore throat, they have what is called influenza-like illness. We then can do a rapid test to determine whether or not they have influenza. If they do have influenza, it can be type A or type B. If it's type A, we then see what the subtype is. If we cannot determine the subtype with the testing methods that we have, that is considered a probable case of human swine influenza, and that is what we have determined. I realize that may not be very clear, but there is a diagram that tries to make it clear. The confirmatory testing is expected to be available tomorrow from CDC. What's concerning about this is, first, that it is likely swine flu. Second, that at this time it is spreading from person to person. We don't know if it will continue spreading from person to person. So just because it has spread once, with successive generations, sometimes with infections you see more, less, or the same level of infectiousness. So with spreading now from person to person, we do not know whether that will be sustained. In the cases that we've seen, as well as cases from elsewhere in the U.S., we've seen a very short incubation period. So from the time you were exposed to the time you got sick was only 1, 2, or 3 days. And of course, as you all know, in Mexico, we're very concerned about the number of people who appear to be severely ill from this strain or a strain very much like this. There are, however, some reassuring aspects. The fact that so far every person we've identified has mild symptoms, and the fact that it is what is called an H1 strain, so it may have some similarity with strains to which we have already been exposed and may have some immunity to. Now, I'm going to now tell you what we're doing about it. The first thing we're doing is to identify possible cases, starting with the school. So we got the specimens from kids at the school. We've spoken with all hospitals in New York City by conference call yesterday afternoon. We will be speaking with them again today in the afternoon to encourage them to identify patients with severe respiratory symptoms who may have this infection. We've also sent an alert out to physicians throughout New York City, and we'll be sending an update out a little later this afternoon with information on who to test and how to treat and to whom to give preventive treatment. We also check our syndromic surveillance system. We check more than 60,000 health events every day of the year to see if there are any patterns suggesting widespread outbreaks in New York City. This system has seen New York City's cases decline gradually, as in most flu seasons over the past month or two, and we have seen no recent increase citywide in flu-like cases. We will monitor that every 12 hours until we are comfortable that the situation is stabilized. We will also continue working with hospitals to identify people with serious respiratory illness to see whether there is any increase in such patients and to ensure that they're rapidly tested for influenza. We have worked with the school. Friday night, last night, they had a planned large event that would have had close to 1,000 people there. we worked with them, and they postponed that event. It was a student performance. We postponed that event because of the concern that when large numbers of people get together, there's the possibility of a rapid spread of infection in the context of an outbreak. We will look at the CDC testing tomorrow, and if that testing confirms that it is swine flu, we will likely recommend that the school not reopen on Monday out of an abundance of caution. We would then reassess the situation day to day to see which direction to go.